the history of the Coral Sea is it's the first time that the Americans and the Japanese had a carrier battle where the ships didn't see each other. In this, I've played this a few times. This is fairly small. I think it's about 10 days long. The Japanese, who are operating from this area here, is going to try and take Port Moresby, and they're going to screen it with their carriers and probably a surface action group or a SAG. The Americans have a couple carrier task forces. They have the Lexington down here, which in the real battle actually got hit by the Japanese and eventually had to be scuttled, and the Yorkton. Now, every ship, like this game models everything. It models every ship, every individual plane, so you can imagine that it gets pretty big. We can see here that the Lexington is being run by Captain Buckmaster. I don't know if that's historically accurate. I know that historically Fletcher was running the deal. So, but he doesn't appear to be on any of these ships. Maybe he's on here. No, Captain Sherman is on the Lexington. So, anyways, what I'll do is I'll take you through and let you see what this game's all about. The key thing in the Coral Sea is that the Japanese carriers are way more powerful, or more accurately, the Air Force is way more powerful. The Zeros have double the range of the American fighters, and their bombers have a longer range. So if they spot the American carriers before the Americans spot the Japanese, their aircraft will be in and they'll probably blow us away before we have a chance to even react. Now, that's not the mission. The mission isn't to actually have a carrier battle. The mission is to protect Port Moresby. So that's really what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to try and send my carriers to screen Port Moresby to the south. We've got an Australian SAG. It's very small. It's got a couple cruisers and a destroyer. But he'll act as our screen, and he can take out any of the ships that get to Port Moresby with the carriers covering. There's loads of aircraft, like they're called land-based aircraft, all along Australia, but most of them are kind of crappy. There are these planes here, look even at Port Moresby, called the Wirraways, and they're just not very good. These Catalinas are good because they're our search aircraft. So I'm going to set a search arc for the Catalinas. I'm going to send them here. Let's try that again. So alright, so just to explain what this means. So the black arcs mean that the Catalinas will search both in the morning phase and the evening phase, or the afternoon phase. The green arc is just in the afternoon phase. So that's what they're going to do. I just need them along a focused arc, and the range, they can go out 20 hexes, which is 785 miles. I don't need that. I'll get them down to 16 hexes, which is 630 miles, and that should minimize their operational losses. Okay, so now for my carrier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a reaction range, and then we'll work on the actual aircraft on the carrier. So Seagulls, they've got fairly short range, so they're going to be on ASW. That sounds fine. I'll put 40, and then I'll put 20 on search, and just 360 degrees. And I want them only 4 out. Then we'll just set everything here. Okay. So that's all the Seagulls. Go back to our carrier planes. Whoops. Okay, so yeah, here's our Wildcats. So cap of 30%, so that means that they'll fly combat air patrol over the carrier of 30%. The remainder, the 70%, will do escort duties. We'll set their range to 6, so we don't suffer any operational losses, and set them to 15,000 feet for coverage. We'll set all the Wildcats here to that. For our torp bombers, we'll set their altitude to, or these are dive bombers, to 13,000. We'll keep them at, yeah, 20%, I guess. Sure, why not? And set everything in the hex. Whoops. And we'll make sure that we get the range to 7. So the next one is another dive bomber. So here's the torp bombers. So 7 to 13,000. They're very short range. These are the Devastators. And I'm going to put, well, they're such short range, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to send them out. 4 hexes isn't very far, so they're probably not a very good search aircraft. So we'll just set them with that. Okay, so that's that carrier. So we'll do the exact same thing with the Lexington. Alright, so I said that I was going to knock that to 40 and that up to 10. Sure, why not? Down to 4. We'll go back to the carrier planes and set the ranges. Alright, torp bombers, or dive bombers. Now I'm setting these guys to 13,000 so that the fighters can cover them, and these guys can still do their dive bombing attacks from decent altitudes. Seems to work out fairly well. Of course, we need to set the ranges to 7 hexes. And I don't know, these guys I was thinking I should set them lower, but they'll drop down lower when they're actually doing their attack, but I just want them to get cover from up high so that they're not sitting ducks. They'll more than likely get blown away by AAA anyways. Okay, so now we've got a couple oiler groups. So we've got the Tipping Canoe and the Warden, and I'm just going to get him to follow this task force here, and I'm going to get this guy to follow Sims and Neosho, which actually Neosho got in the historic battle. Neosho was sunk, so he's going to follow the task force. Really, all I'm using them for is cannon fodder. Okay, so we're going to move our carriers. So I expected Japanese carriers to operate over here and over here to screen their land forces. I don't want to send my carrier up here because we're outranged, and he's got land-based aircraft out of Rabaul, possibly even some of these other islands. So I want to make myself difficult. My mission is to hit any ships that are transiting through this little slot here. So I'm going to just change his destination. So I want him to go over here, but I also want to make sure that I use some waypoints so I can keep him safe. So I'll keep him pointing to the south. And we'll see. There we go. So that should be okay, I think, for him. And then the other carrier will head this way. Maybe we'll set the task force destination and use a waypoint as well. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, so that seems okay. So if anything comes through here, hopefully our Catalinas catch them, and the carriers can dispatch some bombers to take them out. And this little guy, I'm going to send him straight up the gut, and he can deal with any surface groups he comes across, hopefully the landing fleet. So he's got 6 reaction range. I won't change that. Okay, now What I don't like is I don't like that that Port Moresby has those weir arrays. They're just not very good. So we'll find. I mean, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll set these Warhawks and we'll send them off to here. Always get the maps mixed up, or the towns mixed up. We'll send them to Cooktown. And then the next turn we'll transfer them. The Whir arrays, which are these are light level bombers. I'm gonna actually get him out of here. I'm gonna send him to Townsville. So I'm gonna. What my objective is to send some fighter cover to Port Moresby. Port Moresby has a bunch of infantry and base forces there. They've got yeah, quite a few engineers, some flak guns, some artillery, and some assault. I think it's like assault crews, or it's like just the infantry guys. So they should be able to hold. I'm not going to do anything special with them. Okay, so I expect the carriers to be operating over here, and I for sure expect things to happen down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my subs off of computer control, and I'm going to actually start moving them down. I'll actually move this guy here, because imagine it might be dumb and try and actually cut through there. And my subs actually, I'm not using my subs to necessarily engage fully armed groups, like fresh groups. I want to actually use my subs to, I want to use my subs to take out any guys that I wound. So send him up there. Okay, and I think we've got some guys actually in Brisbane. No, we don't actually have anyone here right now. Here we've got like an aircraft tender, so he has no business being in a combat area. Townsville, we've got the Wirraways that are coming. We've got some Havocs. These guys are on airfield attacks. They have a range of 5, really. So we'll knock them down to 5. Keep them at 15,000, and yeah, like they're really just going to be looking for. I'll put them to naval attack. Let's see. What about Rockhampton? Rockhampton has some Havocs, so we'll set that down to 5, and we'll put them on naval attack. And they're also out searching for the Navy. Mitchell's here. So these guys actually have pretty decent range. So we'll see. They've got pretty decent naval attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them down to 11. Have them send 20%. And they're going to do naval attack. So we'll drop them down to 13. They're medium level bombers. Probably won't hit anything, but oh well, set them up. Okay, so that I think is really all we want to do. Yeah, so we'll just click the turn resolution. Now, the game goes kind of slow as it works through the entire turn. I'll do it once just so you can see kind of what all the stuff is, but then you can just hit escape and kind of speed through it. So it's learning. looks like we ran into some bad weather, and so we spotted some ships to the south of Raval. You can see there's a lot of little individual phases. Alright, so we made it through our first day. So our carriers are happily moving. I don't know how to select them just so I can see what their actual destination is. But you can see they're moving essentially up this way. This group was a bunch of APs. I think those are transports. Yeah, I think that we can transfer our guys from Cooktown. So we've got 17 aircraft. One needs maintenance from transferring to this base. So we're going to transfer him to Port Moresby. And now that he's at Port Moresby, we're going to get him to be... what's his fatigue right now? 14. So we'll have cap, and we'll rest 10% of them, and we'll keep them very close. Actually, we'll keep them like right over the airbase. All right, so that should be good. Yeah, so there's nothing really else we need to change or do. We've got our subs moving around. Got a sub over here too. The Greenling, yeah, let's he's just kind of keeping an eye on truck. Actually, I kind of like that, so we'll just keep him up there. And these guys, yeah, these guys are heading down to cover this area to the southeast of New Guinea. All right, well, let's we'll check out our intelligence as well. So there's radio transmissions. We see that the 144th is spying for an attack on Port Moresby. So that's kind of cool. Like, it tells you what you've intercepted. So that's that. Look at the large strategic map. It's kind of cool. It's a big game. All right. Well, let's just click the next turn. So I'm just gonna hit escape and start speeding stuff up here a little bit. Okay, so it's the evening turn. Not much happened during the evening, but we're starting to spot stuff. So just off to the east of Guadalcanal. Alright. Caught something in the slot. It's both zeros, probably running cap. Got a major strength wing, 13 Wildcats, and 30 Donkeys. So the Wildcats are fighting the zeros. Fair fight. The zeros are definitely high performance. All performing Wildcats. suffer operational losses. These guys are taking out the base. Zeros being ninjas. I don't know if we're actually well. Alright, so what did we find? Who did we find? Stupid escort. So, we got spotted at 7,000 feet, at about, or 7 miles, 16,000 feet. The Zeros were able to get on station, and we were able to hit, looks like a sag. So you can see that the guys dropped down to 4,000, 3,000, 2,000 feet to drop their bombs. And, yeah, what did we lose? So we lost one Wildcat and one Dauntless in that attack, and damaged some of his ships. And he didn't lose any of the Zeros. But we know there's Zeros there, so we know the carrier's very close. Okay, so there's crappy weather all around. Getting shut down by Davis. Which is a Japanese, I think, like a float recon plane, like our Catalina. Alright. So, while I'm largely happy with those results, like these guys are now heading east, so they're retreating. This means that their force that they're escorting is probably unescorted, and if it keeps pushing forward, which it probably will, it'll be a lot easier for us to take them out. So I'm going to set the Australian group just over here. I want to keep them out of the way of Japanese land-based aircraft from Rabaul, and we'll set our carrier. Set our carrier over here. And that guy's good. Changes reactions, so if he spots something, he'll get closer to it so we can actually launch a strike. Now the subs, this is good because they can just try and take out any of the wounded ships. So just gonna start clustering my subs to see if we can't pick off any stragglers. I'll leave these other guys down there. Got our guy up at truck still. Yeah, okay. Just looking for some more subs. Okay, thought, yeah. Okay, that guy's rolling. Alright, so let's check out the status of our planes. So we have 61 out of 65 planes. So you can see that the Wildcats here are a little fatigued. Still pretty good. Like, I would say that we're probably good until maybe 35-40%. And we've got a pretty decent complement of Dauntlesses. And down here, we've got full fresh guys, hardly any fatigue whatsoever. So these guys are starting to get a little tired from that last attack, but they also got a bit of experience. So we'll just we'll check our sightings. Okay, so there's going to be Japanese subs out here. by the way, like, all these reports, they're not conclusive. In fact, even these aren't conclusive. This is all just based on the intelligence that you've gathered, and the game is telling you what you think you know. This group could actually be over here. This could be a misreporting. So it's pretty cool. Like, it builds in a lot of fog of war into the game. Right, so we won't we won't really sweat the night phase. The day phase is what we're interested in. So Kavieng, looks like there's a group there. So we got really crappy weather all around. Uh-oh. So we're getting spotted. That's not good. Seagulls are seeing periscopes. Got another attack. So it looks like we caught their landing. But we damaged almost every one of the transports and killed 719 people. It's pretty crazy. And, the second group is going to try and finish them off. 30 bonus items. Like we've now hit everything. We've done probably 1,400 casualties, which is quite a few. They may have to retreat. They may have to call off their invasion. Okay, so we've got 12 zeros, 18 nels, and my Warhawks are so, I guess, maybe poorly trained, but the early warning. We're able to scramble 500 strike rate. Watch this a little bit. So, zeros, the mounts, the Warhawks. More getting off the ground. And they're just getting fed into the meat grinder. Damage to now. Alright, shot them down. Alright, shot down another one. Guns jammed. Alright. Okay, so quite prepared for this, I guess. But looks like they're on a focus strike, defending ourselves with flag, but bombing the living crap out of our air base, and they're doing a good job. And now we've got a lot of fighters up in the air, so we can try and attack them as they're trying to get away. They lost 1-0, 3 nels and 2 were damaged for 1 Warhawk, but they caused lots of damage on our runway, and yeah. Okay, so sending in another carrier strike. Thomas, but his engine cut out. It's going to break off. Still wailing on that invasion fleet. minesweeper. There's heavy damage. Oh, this 3,259 estimated damage. So we've killed a lot of Japanese. Oh, and we're just happily running in bunch of transports. I think some mine ships, anti-mine ships, another 2,000 points of damage. So this is a disaster for the Japanese. All their ships were all clustered around that cape. Now the subs are going to have a heyday trying to take out any of the stragglers. But the carriers are still around here somewhere. Like, they're still very much a threat. So these guys are, well, they're still heading northwest. There's still quite a few of them. So I think I'm going to move the carrier, this carrier group. I'll move them here. And I'll move this one. Move here. And I think I'm going to move the surface group right over there. Okay, so I'm going to send subs. And I'm actually going to set some reaction range, because if I can spot something like a hex away, maybe I'll actually go chase it. And send this guy right over here, and we'll set his reaction range of 1. Okay, let's check out how our aircraft are doing in Port Moresby. So our Warhawks, so 25 fatigue, 50% and 10% for cap, 12 aircraft, 17 pilots. Yeah, Air 57. I wonder if no, we don't even have any other officers that we can set up there. So that'll have to do. And the Catalinas, 2 of them are down for maintenance. So you can see that we're only doing half in the morning and half in the afternoon. So yeah, it's probably better that I do the morning here and the afternoon here, because it's going to take them longer to go this way, the enemy. So that should be fine. I want to keep my aircraft carriers away from Rabaul because of the land-based aircraft. So we'll check our signals. Probably lots of maydays. Ooh, it says the Shokaku class CV is moving to 112, 141. 112, 141. Where is that? Alright, so 112 is right here. Okay, so intelligence says the Shokaku is moving down here. So I have to be careful, because what they might actually do is they might swing down. This is interesting, because that means that what I'll do is when I'm retreating, I'm going to intentionally retreat down the Australian coast, if that intelligence is correct. I assume that it is until I know otherwise. In fact, what I'm going to do is, instead of moving that guy, we're going to operate on that little tidbit of intelligence and send a sub over there. Alright. Still aircraft tender there. Nothing that interesting. Alright, let's rock it. I should have probably moved my carriers. Like, I shouldn't have Shouldn't have just moved them just a few hexes because it's predictable. Should have actually routed them out with a waypoint, move them up, and then kind of fish hook them. Right, good job, guys. Killed 5 Nells. That's fantastic. Okay, it looks like we got a Jap sub just to the west of Port Moresby. So we destroyed one of the Mavises. So yeah, we gotta get the carriers out of here. Okay, so there's that Japanese fleet, and they take out the SAG. So let's watch this. So the good news is the valves only drop 250-pound bombs, but Kates are they're gonna sink her. Sink the SAG. Australia sinks. Bart, 9 bombs. Whipple is unscathed. Okay. So now we're in trouble. Now the SAG is actually attacking us. What's that? Let's see if we get the carry. Let's see if they got him. Okay, so they missed the Lexington, which is good. So we gotta get them the hell out of here. Yeah, okay, so we're in a bit of trouble here. So we're gonna set the task force destination down to the south, and we're gonna set a waypoint. I'm gonna set it close to Cairns. Set him down there and set him close to Cairns. Alright, 97, 149. Alright, so that should get us out of there. This guy has to go home, yeah, so we lost 2 ships. And we're gonna send him back to. We're gonna set his home base to Brisbane, and return him to Brisbane. And we're gonna set our routing so that he doesn't. He tries to get away at least from the carrier. Okay, so yeah, 2 carriers over here. So now we're just trying to get away. We got boxed in. What I'll do is I'll send my subs. I'll try and send my subs to engage the carriers. Try and intercept them. This guy over here. Actually, I'm gonna send him right there. Oops. There. Give him a reaction range. Still send that guy. Send him over here. All right. Check our signal intelligence. So I think we're okay. Like, Port Moresby isn't going to fall. Like, we totally destroyed that the Japanese landing group. But now we're being pursued by Japanese carriers. Now, if we could get in there, we might be able to damage them, but I think we'd lose ships as well. I think what I'll do is I'm going to try and lure them closer to the coast so that my Mitchells can try and help out. So it looks like their carrier is moving south. Oh, look at this. We only have 10 Nels on this attack, so the Warhawks are definitely doing some decent damage. So destroyed 2 more. We didn't lose anything, so I'm very pleased with those guys. Now, one drawback is that our Catalinas are only doing 20-degree searches, and we might have to actually pivot it down a bit. So that's what we'll do. Yeah, look at this. Okay. So they're staying down. They probably don't want to get close to... you probably don't want to get close to the coast either. So I'm going to set our guy over here. So we're just kind of hopefully psyching him out, because I think he's trying to head us off at the pass, and keep our subs kind of forming a wall. Actually, that's what we'll do. Let's just kind of make a bit of a wall in case he pivots back towards Port Moresby. Whoops. So, got some seagulls from the ships that sunk. Okay, so I want to reset my Catalinas. So I want them here, and I want them here. So we got 50%. We should be able to do 2. So that's what I want. The Catalinas scanning down there, keep their eye on those Japanese. So we're going to head the carriers up, and we got a new submarine. So we'll create a new sub-patrol task group, or task force. S-41, human controlled, remain on station. And you are going to steam out of the port and head to their last known location. Alright. Okay. We've got Havocs that the range is pretty small, so they have to be really dumb to get attacked by them. But these Mitchells are actually pretty darn good. Like 12 hexes extended. So, alright, let's see what happens here. So it's night. So our spies are picking up guys at port. Okay. So, 5 bells. One was destroyed by flak. We lost another Warhawk. Okay, so he's just starting to box this in. So I think I'm going to have to do something. I think I'm going to have to actually attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a carrier up here. I'm going to fish hook down, and I'm going to send this guy down and fish hook to the side and see if we can't split his forces. So we'll set the destination for here. But I'm going to actually use a waypoint. And I want them to go up there. Alright, so let's see what that looks like. Yeah, so that's that hook. And this guy is going to go... It's going to go here. But I'm going to set a waypoint. Set a waypoint down here. And I'm going to set a waypoint here. It's kind of doing like a little kind of pincer movement. This guy, you know what? Sorry, buddy, but I need you. It's only got a little bit of damage. I need him to beeline it straight for the carrier. Whoops. So that he can distract him. Okay, and the cats, still only 5, so I want to start at 150 and then at 170. So I just want this area covered by them. I think I had some Catalinas over here. So I need these Catalinas. So 11 of them, 50%. Let's set my arc. So I need them here. And here. And okay, so I actually need to change that. Just need to be to the right a little more. So make it 10 to 40. So it should be 5 at a time. Okay, that's a pretty good arc. Okay, so yeah, I think we've got some good overlapping coverage. Carriers are operating there. We should be able to zero in on them and maybe get the jump on them. In fact, that might give us our advantage. Subs are moving in. All right. So this guy, yeah. Clearly the Japanese carriers are over there, so doesn't need to stay on station there. And what do we got down here? Another sub? Alright, well, hop on in. Join the party. So 1. Whoops. And head on up. Okay, we'll see how our Warhawks are doing. So we only have 5 aircraft. We have 15 pilots. 5 are damaged, so they got to be fixed. Just for fun, like, let's see how many kills these guys got. Like, Lieutenant Morgan got 4 kills, so that's amazing. He's great. Don't die, Morgan. Okay, so game plan is I'm doing a hook here, and I'm sending this guy in as the bait. And we got the subs coming in from the northeast, so we'll see if that works. No signals, so good luck, gentlemen. Should have looked at where this carrier was heading. I think he's heading to the northwest. Okay, so night. They're probably steaming along. Hey, look at this. Okay, so we definitely caught something. Yeah, charges are too high. Oh. Alright, so the sub didn't get a shot off, but we've got 2 cruisers and a bunch of destroyers. It's pretty dangerous. So that was probably the screen. So let's see. Hopefully they didn't get our carrier. So we destroyed 2 of the Nells and 1 of the Zeros. So that hook was very risky. All fine. I think there was another carrier group. Yeah, I think we're going to lose the Yorkton on this one. Yeah, so the Yorkton got hit. They attacked the airbase. And finished off the So, yeah, they're going after the Yorkton. So our hook action actually backfired because it did bring us too close to the land-based aircraft. We got spotted, and they've got a carrier group. I don't know if it's a new one. I think it's maybe be the same one. They headed back at night. Huh. Look at this intelligence report. 2, 4. It says there's 6 carriers there. I'm not sure I believe that. But all right. So yeah. So this carrier group was able to whale on us and. See how the Yorkton's doing. So 14 points in systems, some flotation damage. We didn't lose. Doesn't look like we lost our aircraft. So yeah. So we are getting the hell out of here. I thought I was so clever. So yeah, we're gonna head them down that way, and we're gonna set up a waypoint. And of course they've got the piranhas coming after us. Yeah. So at this point we're just gonna here. We're gonna screen our buddies in the carrier with the Lexington. So use a waypoint here. We'll send them this way. Just in case that carrier tries to come in to finish us off. So let's see how we're doing. Okay, yeah, so that'll be good. This guy will head down here. Oh man, can't believe. Well, I'm while I'm a little surprised that that happened, I'm happy that they didn't sink the Yorkton. So I'm setting up my subs to screen the shallows here. And we'll see where he's heading northwest. So we'll change our cats. So we want to start at 130. And we'll go to 150. We'll just cover that slot here. We'll keep those cats there. Okay, so subs are converging in on us, but we'll get out of there hopefully. And yeah, our Warhawks. Let's see, did we? All right, Morgan's still up. Look at this, 7 kills. He's got 80 experience, so he's turning into quite the pilot. So we got 15 pilots and only 5 aircraft. So that's too bad. But war is hell. Okay, got another sub here. SS-43 and send them up. Yeah, so at this point we're gonna pull back. We don't have a tactical advantage. It would have been nice if we would have got fighters on here, but they got us first and we took some damage. So we're just gonna retreat back, get the Yorkton back to dry dock, and or not dry dock, but some pure side support and get them repaired. The main mission was accomplished. We stopped the Port Moresby invasion. Our carriers should be able to get out of here at night. Okay, so kind of limping away. Alright, so we'll see how the Yorkton's doing, if it's getting any worse. So it doesn't seem to be getting any worse, their damage. Definitely suffered major damage. Lost quite a few of our wildcats. What's their fatigue? 5? So. Alright. So now that we've got these guys safe, we can just 29 knots. The Yorkton is a little slower. I'm gonna send this task force down to Bundaberg and see if we can get away. Alright, so our night moves. Nels, zeros, great range, long range bombers. Killed a couple more Nels, lost a Warhawk. Hopefully it wasn't our main pilot. Let's check it out. Let's see. 4 Warhawks. Yeah, Morgan's still up and running. We don't want to transfer him. Alright. 10,000 feet. They're only at 10,000 feet. They seem to be doing pretty well. Okay, and I'm not spotting the enemy carriers. My coast watchers aren't spotting them. They're probably going to Rabal, I'm guessing. But we're not going to push our luck. So I didn't make any changes. We're just gonna run yet another day. All right. So send these guys down to 1 hex out of Brisbane, and I think the turn's over after this anyways, and we'll see how we did. Oh, there's potentially the carrier group. Yeah. So looks like that carrier wasn't done with us. Hopefully he doesn't get into striking range on us. There's one damaged. Oh, hit some of our non-combat troops. Bastards. Alright, so it was a decisive Allied victory. They had 269 points and we had 1,200 points. So, we'll see. So, yeah, here's their carrier right here. So they had the Shokaku and the Zuikaku. And, yeah, like, all these guys were, like, full strength. These Kates got kind of ground down, it looks like. Looks like they suffered a few losses. Look at torpedo bombers at 16,000 and operating extended radius. But anyways, these guys are badass. This carrier group was badass. Let's see who was actually running it. So Takagi, Vice Admiral Takagi was running it. Shokaku is captained by Jojima. And this guy is by Captain Kawa. So, anyways, yeah, let's look at Rabal. Here's those Nells. So there were only 4 Nells left. 11 pilots, but only 4 Nells left. And look at that, 21 Nells lost to air, 2 to flak. So that was pretty good. So we got 970 points for bases, 150 for the Japanese for bases. They got 67, or we got 67 points. No, Allied aircraft points lost, 29, so we had less aircraft losses. They lost 72 points for their army. So we lost 2 ships, so they got 66 points for that Australian SAG, but we got 126 for all their transports, and they got 24 points for damaging us. We got 7 points, and that's like, look at that, 24 points for damaging our carrier. Anyways, that's War in the Pacific. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, hopefully you learned a bit about this game. Thanks.